Adeshola stood outside the tiny room, sweating profusely under the scorching Bariga sun. His shirt was soaked, but he couldn't tell if it was from the heat or the tension building in his chest. Inside the cramped one-room apartment, women from the compound were gathered, helping his wife through labor. He could hear her screaming in pain. "Push! Push! You're almost there," one of the women shouted. Adeshola's heart pounded with fear. They had no money for a hospital, not even a private nurse. These women, neighbors who pitied their condition, had volunteered to help. That was all he had. Pity and prayers. Then suddenly, wah! Wah! The high-pitched sound of babies crying pierced through the walls. A second cry followed. Then one of the women screamed from inside, "Ah! Twins! Thank you, Lord O." Adeshola froze. Twins? He was still struggling to feed himself and his wife. Even affording pap and milk was a daily miracle. How was he supposed to take care of two babies? He sat down slowly on the pavement, hands shaking. His heart raced with a mix of joy, fear, and helplessness. The curtain that served as their door shifted. One of the women, Auntie Iyashade, stepped out, drenched in sweat and smiling. "Baba Ibeji," she teased, "come inside and see your babies. They look just like their mama." He stood up slowly and walked into the dark room. There, on their thin mattress, lay Arike, his beautiful wife, eyes closed in exhaustion. Beside her were two tiny baby girls, wrapped in old Ankara wrappers, their soft brown faces peaceful, their cries now quiet. They were so beautiful, just like their mother. Adeshola knelt beside them, speechless. He placed his hand gently on one of the babies and whispered, "God, I don't know how, but please, help me take care of them." He looked at Arike, then at his girls again. Taiwo and Kehinde. He knew their names already. As tears welled up in his eyes, he smiled and said, "Welcome to this hard world, my angels. Your daddy will try. I promise I will try." 3 months later, the twins were growing fast. Their small cries filled the room each morning. Arike barely slept. Between breastfeeding and trying to keep the room clean, she was constantly tired and irritable. Their one-room apartment in Bariga was cramped and stuffy. The ceiling leaked when it rained. The window had no net, so mosquitoes feasted on them every night. Their neighbors in the Face Me I Face You compound were noisy, always arguing, fetching water, or cooking by the corridor. Adeshola was trying his best. He woke up early every day, carrying cement at construction sites, offloading bags of rice at the market, anything to bring food home. But his best was never enough. Sometimes they would go 2 days without proper food. One afternoon, Arike tied one of the twins to her back and carried the other in her arms. She went to the local mama put shop to beg for food on credit. "Auntie BC, please, just give me small rice and stew. I will pay you next week," Arike said, voice shaking. But Auntie BC laughed and shouted in front of customers, "Olushi. Onigbese, you still get mouth to beg for food when you never pay last week own?" A big shift. The whole street turned to look. Arike felt the heat of shame rise to her face. She didn't say another word. She turned and walked away, holding back tears. That day, she cried in the room. She looked at the twins and felt like she was trapped. No money, no peace, no help. Her beauty was fading. Her breast sagged from breastfeeding. Her clothes were old and torn. She began to resent everything, even Adeshola. When he came back that evening with just 2 sachets of pap and 1 dry bread, she exploded. "Is this what you brought home again? This is what you want me and your daughters to eat? You're a disgrace, Adeshola." "Arike, please. I'm trying. Try harder. I regret marrying you. I should have followed one of those rich men that used to toast me that time." Shola dropped the bread and sat quietly. His heart broke with every word. A week later, everything changed. Chief Adebayo had come to Bariga to inspect a piece of land he was buying. His convoy of black SUVs caused a scene on the street. He stepped out in white agbada and gold wristwatch, His presence alone demanded attention. As he was waiting by his car, he noticed a young woman standing by the roadside with a baby on her back and another in her arms. She was trying to calm them down while using her wrapper to block the sun. She looked tired, hungry, but still very beautiful. Chief Adebayo couldn't take his eyes off her. He watched as a street food seller insulted her. She quietly walked away in shame. There was something about her that touched him. He called his driver. "Go and bring that lady." The driver approached her. "Madam, my oga wants to speak with you." Arike was scared at first, but curiosity pushed her. When she saw Chief Adebayo, her heart skipped a beat. He was older, but fine, rich, calm, confident. "My name is Chief Adebayo. I saw you from afar." "What's your name?" "Arike," she said quietly. "You are very beautiful, Arike. But why are you walking in the sun with these babies like this? Don't you eat? You look malnourished." Arike looked down, ashamed. Chief smiled. "Let me help you. Take this." He handed her an envelope. She opened it later. It was 50,000 naira. That night, she cooked jollof rice and chicken for the first time in months. She was in a joyful mood for the rest of the day. The beginning of temptation had arrived. After that first envelope, Chief Adebayo didn't stop. Every few days, he would send his driver to check on Arike, sometimes with money, other times with food, baby diapers, even clothes. He didn't ask for anything in return at first. Arike started looking different. Her old wrappers were replaced with designers. Her skin glowed again. Neighbors began to notice. "Arike, this your new look get as EBO." One woman teased one afternoon. "Any God oh," Arike replied, smiling, but she knew it wasn't God. It was Chief. Then came the lunch invite. "Just come and eat with me. You deserve to rest small, away from all this noise," Chief said over the phone. At first, she refused, but the temptation was too strong. She dropped the twins off with Mama Bisi, the same woman who once insulted her, and went. That lunch turned into a drive. The drive turned into wine. The wine turned into kisses. And soon, Arike was going to see Chief more often than she was home. She began returning late, sometimes not at all. The babies cried endlessly, and the neighbors began to complain. Adeshola noticed. "Arike, where have you been?" he asked one night as she walked in, smelling of perfume and wine. "Don't ask me stupid questions, Adeshola," she snapped. "I've been carrying cement under the sun all day and came home to care for the twins alone. And you?" She cut him off. "Do you think I want to live like this forever? You don't even have plans for a better life. You want me to suffer with you until I rot in this one room?" God forbid. Her words pierced his heart. But she didn't stop. "I deserve more than this wretched life. You're not even a man, Adeshola. Just look at you." He stood there, silent, tired, broken. Days passed. Weeks. Arike was now known in the area as Madame that entered big car. Chief Adebayo eventually told her what she was waiting to hear. "Arike, I want you to be mine. Leave that your stupid husband and come live with me." She hesitated, looking away. "But Chief, what about my twins?" Chief laughed softly. "They'll survive. Do you want to continue suffering in that heat, sharing toilet with 10 families? I'll take care of you. Marry me, Arike. Let me spoil you." That night, Adeshola came home to find Arike packing her few clothes into a small Ghana must-go bag. "Arike, where are you going?" he asked, his voice trembling. She didn't answer. He dropped to his knees, grabbing her legs. "Please, don't do this to me. What about our babies? Arike, don't leave us." She looked down at him. For a second, something flickered in her eyes. But it faded quickly. "Leave me alone, you wretch." The sound of a car horn outside cut through the silence. A black Prado was waiting, engine running. Arike took one last look at her crying twins on the mat. She turned, walked past Adeshola, and stepped out of the room. The door shut behind her. And just like that, she was gone. Chief Adebayo's mansion in Lekki was everything Arike had dreamed of. Chandeliers, marble floors, a private chef, and a walk-in closet bigger than her entire room back in Bariga. She had maids to run her bath. She had gold earrings that sparkled in the dark. She wore fine lace, drove in sleek SUVs, and attended uwambes with society women who wore gele like crowns. And of course, the first wife, Madame Rumke, watched her every move with disgust. The mansion was cold, not just in temperature, but in atmosphere. Nobody smiled genuinely. Every good morning came with side eyes and fake laughter. Arike felt like a visitor in her own home. But she told herself she didn't care. She was finally rich. Time passed. A year flew by. Chief Adebayo still showered her with gifts and attention. But every month that passed without a pregnancy became a new reason for tension. She prayed, fasted, visited fertility clinics. But nothing changed. Madame Rumke made sure to remind her daily. Some people are only good at snatching husbands, but can't even give the man a child, she would say with a smirk as she walked past. One day, Arike told Chief, "I'm trying everything, Chief, but I'm not getting pregnant." Chief simply smiled and stroked her hair. "It's nothing, Arike. You'll have your children when the time is right." But the time never came. Adeshola had never felt pain like the night Arike walked out on him. The sound of her footsteps fading into the night stayed in his ears for weeks. He would wake up in the middle of the night and reach for her side of the mat, but it was always empty. But he didn't have time to mourn. He had twins to raise. 2-month-old girls who cried through the night and clung to his chest for comfort. He didn't know how to plait hair. He didn't know how to boil pap without lumps. He didn't know how to carry 2 babies at once when they both wanted attention. But he learned. Neighbors who once mocked him slowly began to respect him. He would back Taiwo, tie Kehinde to his chest, and carry a wheelbarrow to the market to offload goods for small pay. He did shoemaking, pushed trucks, sold recharge cards, anything to earn. Little by little, things changed. One afternoon, as he sat in front of the room sewing torn sandals, a man approached him. "Bros, I've been watching you. You're hardworking and honest. I need someone to manage a small store for me. Interested?" Adeshola didn't think twice. From managing the store, he began saving. From saving, he opened a small shop of his own. From that shop, he started buying in bulk and supplying to others. Within 5 years, the man who once begged for Gary was now being called Chairman. Oga Shola, Baba Ibeji the big man. He moved out of the compound and rented a 2-bedroom flat in Ebeda. Taiwo and Kenny started school. They were brilliant, always first in class, and polite too. Every parent wanted their children to be friends with the twins. Adeshola made sure they lacked nothing. He was always calling them my 2 queens. By the time the girls were in secondary school, he had opened 3 shops and was already importing goods from China. He never remarried. When people asked why, he would smile and say, "No woman can take the place of my daughters." And as Taiwo and Kenny grew into beautiful young women, they made a promise to him. "Daddy, we'll make you proud. We'll give you the life you never had." By the time the twins were 21, their names were making waves. Taiwo was now a fashion designer who dressed celebrities and even got featured in magazines abroad. Kenny had built a health tech app that helped thousands of Nigerians get affordable medication. She was being interviewed by CNN. They had moved their father into a duplex in Lekki, bought him a Hilux, and hired a full-time driver and chef. He would sit on the balcony every morning, sipping tea, watching the birds, and thinking, so this is what it feels like to be truly blessed. But life wasn't done with him yet. Because one day, as his Hilux drove down a crowded street in Lagos, he saw a familiar face. 19 years had passed since Arike left that 1-room apartment in Bariga. She had gone from hunger to plenty, from dusty slippers to Italian shoes. But inside her, a quiet fear had grown, a fear she couldn't shake. She had still not gotten pregnant. Chief Adebayo, though older, had been patient. At first. But things had changed. He was now weaker, always tired, and spending more time with Madame Ronquet and her 2 grown children. Arike, once the favorite, now felt like an outsider in the mansion she once ruled. Then it happened. One rainy evening, Chief Adebayo slumped in his chair during dinner. He was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was already done. Stroke. Within a few months, he passed on. Arike wept like a widow, but there were no rights for her. She wasn't legally married. There was no certificate, no child tying her to his name. She begged Madame Ronquet for time. She even tried speaking to the lawyer. But the response was cold. You were never legally his wife. And since you bore him no child, the will does not include you. Just like that, she was given 1 week to live. The same gate she once walked through in lace and high heels, she now stood before with her bag and broken spirit. No driver, no escort, no house. Arike walked the streets of Lagos with nowhere to go. She tried old friends, but none picked her calls. Some had blocked her, others pretended not to remember her. She sold her last gold chain for food. She slept in uncompleted buildings, begged for water in markets, and slowly became one of the many forgotten women in the city. One day, dressed in old clothes, barefoot and dusty, she sat by a roadside near Oshodi, bowl in hand, eyes downcast. Please, anything you have, God will bless you. She said it 100 times that day. But what she didn't know was that fate was about to do something unimaginable. Because on that very street, the black Hilux was approaching, and in the back seat sat a man she hadn't seen in 21 years. The black Hilux glided through the busy streets of Lagos, air-conditioned and silent inside, despite the chaos outside. In the back seat sat Adeshola, now 45, wearing a crisp white kaftan, a gold wristwatch gifted by Taiwo, and a peaceful look on his face. His driver was focused, weaving through traffic. Beside him sat Taiwo, now 21, graceful, stylish, and glowing with success. They were headed to a private airport. Kenny had just returned from a medical conference in Dubai. The family was going to pick her up together. But as the Hilux slowed at a red light near Oshodi, Adeshola leaned slightly forward and glanced out the window. And then, he saw her, sitting on the hot pavement, dusty, barefoot, a small plastic bowl in front of her, her lips whispering for help. Arike, the woman who had once walked over his begging hands, now begging strangers. Adeshola's chest tightened. Driver, slow down. The driver obeyed and slowed down. He opened the door and stepped down slowly, staring hard to be sure his eyes weren't deceiving him. Yes, it was her. Arike was whispering, please, anything. I haven't eaten today, God bless you. She didn't even look up at first. But then she heard footsteps. A familiar presence. She lifted her eyes and froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her hand dropped. Her whole body shook. Adeshola, she whispered, almost choking on the name. Tears filled her eyes instantly. She stood up and collapsed to the ground at his feet, weeping loudly. Ah, Adeshola, please forgive me. I was blind. I was foolish. Greed carried me away. Please, forgive me. She clutched his feet, trembling. People walking by stopped and stared. Adeshola looked down at her, speechless. So many emotions swelled in his chest: anger, pain, pity, and memories. He pulled out his wallet and dropped a few 1,000 naira notes into her bowl. Then turned to walk back to the car. But Arike held his leg tightly again, sobbing. Don't leave me, please. I have no one. I've lost everything. Even God may have left me. Just then, Taiwo stepped down from the car. Daddy, who is this woman? Why is she holding your leg? Adeshola turned, tears now gathering in his eyes. He looked at his daughter, then back at the woman on the ground. Taiwo, this is your mother. The woman who left you and your sister when you were just 2 months old. She walked out on us when we had nothing. When you were crying for milk, She walked away because she wanted enjoyment. Taiwo's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Arike, this fragile, broken woman who had once been their mother. "Mommy," she whispered. Arike raised her head slowly, her face soaked in tears. "Taiwo, is it really you? My daughter, please, please forgive me. I was foolish. I was blinded. I don't deserve your love, but I'm begging you." Taiwo stepped closer. Then she knelt beside her mother and helped her up gently. "Let's go home." Back in the car, Adeshola was silent. His heart was heavy, but peaceful. Kenny, who had been picked up from the airport, met them at home and burst into tears when she saw her mother. There was pain. There were hard conversations. But there was also healing. And slowly, day by day, they forgave her.